Shut up and sit down.
Hi guys, it's Dodgy from Big Mech's Workshop and Paint Studio. We've done a lot of basing and painting tutorials, but now we're going to teach you how to make some rubble bases of your own. You're going to need a razor saw, nice and sharp. You can pick these up from your local hobby shop. A scalpel or hobby knife, any random super glue. This is off Andy's desk, he doesn't know. And some corks that you can get from any pound shop or Wilco's. I'm not sure where you get them from if you're in America. They tend to be relatively cheap. And the first thing we're going to do is cut off about a quarter of this cork using the razor saw. Now these bases are for part of a commission, so I've not had much time to work on this video. But once we've finished these, we will bring a video out of how we paint them, if we've got time. They're for a 5-man Terminator squad. So the problem I'm having here is that the razor saw has a lip on the end of it at the top, so it can only cut so far down. You don't need a perfectly straight cut into your cork because we're trying to make this look like stone. And which bizarrely, when you paint cork in all the stone colours, ends up looking, which you wouldn't expect since it's made of wood and random stuff, but there you go. So we've cut all the way through that, and I will do the other side off camera, and what you end up with is this textured block. As you can see, it's a bit too big for the base. It's got a bit of an overhang, but if you want to use it like that, you can do. And obviously you're thinking to yourself, yeah, it's got straight edges, doesn't look anything like a stone. Well, what we're going to do now is snap it in half, and that will give us a much rougher texture, which we'll then start using to make it look more like rock. And again, we've got straight edges. What we'll do is get the hobby knife, and be careful with this thing, they are sharp. If anyone's been in this hobby for a while, you will have cut yourself with one of these. Try and cut away from yourself, guys. And we'll make small incisions into the corners, then we'll peel them off, because we don't want straight cuts, we want a rough surface texture. And as you can see, that's starting to look more and more like rubble. Don't try and take huge pieces off while doing this. Little bits here, little bits there at random angles. The more random you can make it look, the better. Because when you paint these and you do a dry brush, it's going to bring out all those edges. And it's going to look a lot more real than if you just cut all the way through it. It will look like cork still if you just cut a nice chunk out of it. It'll look too smooth. So what I've done after doing that is I've turned it on its side and gone through it again with the razor saw to get two parts roughly the same shape and size. Which is useful for Terminator bases because you're going to want them to have something to stand on, but you also want them pretty level. And sawing through the middle means you've got two flat surfaces that you can put down and bond really well to the base. Then spend a bit of time moving them around your base, figuring out where it is they're going to look the most natural and the best. As I was doing this, I flipped it over, realised there's that really indented side and I want to use that. Just spinning them around, looking for those best options, and what I end up doing is gluing them down with a slight overhang so it looks like one of the pieces of concrete is stuck on the other piece. Just checking all those angles, because you know you're going to see your model from all the angles. You want your base to look good from every angle that you look at it from. Then going to go ahead and use our super glue to glue those down. You want to be quite generous with this and hold it down for a while, make sure it bonds properly. But we'll be adding more glue later on to make sure everything bonds properly. And yeah, this is the one of the Marines that'll be going on it as part of a commission. And yes, he's got a weird loadout, that's part of the fun of this. Guy wanted some Terminators with very weird loadouts, that's what he's getting. He's been nicknamed Captain Badass because he can swing his thunder hammer and shoot you in the face with a storm bolter. You'll probably see a video of those coming up at some point soon. We've got PVA glue. I can't remember what brand of cat litter that is. And then what we've done is we've gone and poured a bunch of the cat litter through a sieve, so we've got the finest stuff, including all the dust that comes with it, which is probably one of the best things to use for rubble and grit because of the different textures. We're going to use PVA glue to seal in any gaps on the underneath, and instead of just throwing these stones down, we're going to place them down strategically so they layer up on top of each other, giving a more natural look. Basically picking out a bit of the cat litter that I like the shape of and putting it in between those two bits of rock and forcing it down into there. There's a gap underneath that and the base, so I'll get another piece and I'll slide that underneath there. That gives it a much more natural look than just throwing stones on top of it. It's just a case of repeating this around until you've done all the large shapes that you want to do. And what we do is we start getting smaller and smaller. So we start with the large cat litter, break up the shape on that base, and then we put some more glue down. And what you'll find with the cat litter, it will absorb quite a lot of the PVA glue, because that's what it's designed to do, just like soak up fluids. So you tend to use quite a lot of PVA glue. It's best to use more than you need, because a lot of it will get absorbed, but that also helps it bond really well. Once you're happy with the big rocks, go ahead and add even more glue. Then we're going to switch to the small cat litter, which has been through the sieve, because it contains quite a lot of fine dust and different sizes, and this we will end up sprinkling on there and pushing down, trying to get it to stick in all those gaps so there's no big rocks with no gaps underneath them, because that would look unnatural. As you can see, I'm pushing them into the gap in between where there's no PVA glue. Well, that's not a worry because I'm going to coat that entire thing in PVA glue. Then sand to finish it off. It should land in all those gaps that were left, bits of PVA glue showing. Then we're going to let that set. Already it's starting to look like a very natural rock formation, or even rubble from a ruined building or something. And as I was saying, we're going to water down some PVA glue quite a lot. You're looking at like 60% water, and using an old brush we're going to spread this all over the top and let it drip on there so you don't disturb any of your rock formations and the look you've finally gone for. Just dabbing it on there because the cat litter will absorb most of this. Any excess that ends off dripping around the sides, just wipe that off with a bit of tissue or kitchen roll and let that dry. I'll probably take a few coats of that, let it dry, do it again, because when you dry brush these models it'll pull bits of the cat litter off and that's not what you want. So to make sure that doesn't happen, we do quite a few layers, and that's all we've got time for this week. So if you like our videos, hit like. If you want to see more of our videos, hit subscribe, and if you've got any questions, leave a comment. Thanks for watching, guys.